Greetings of peace and love, everybody. My name is Ram Hotep, coming back at you with another episode, broadcasting on behalf of the number 13, SignsAstrology.com. How's everybody doing? Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. This particular episode is going to be for the ear that is ready, for the ear that is trained, and I guess for the ear that is disciplined to be able to listen to some metaphysical thoughts that may challenge some of your belief systems, may challenge some of your opinions, may challenge some of your views. Um, you really want to get a great understanding of metaphysics, of spirituality. There's certain third dimensional, mundane barriers and obstacles that one must overcome to really get into understanding metaphysics and occult knowledge. Now, in this particular segment, I'm going to be talking about the White Brotherhood, the Great White Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Light. But before I get into that, I want to just kind of like lay a foundation, and I want to talk about the whole concept of black and white when it comes to the occult. Because, like most of you, when you hear about black and when you hear about white, you automatically think about race. You automatically think about, some people may think about nationality, some people may think about basically two groups of people. And when you get into understanding the Great White Brotherhood and the concept of the Black Brotherhood, because there's a counterpart, which is the Black Brotherhood, you have to go past this whole concept and construct of race. Because most trained occultists, people that's into the occult, that have a trained ear for the occult, they are past this whole thing of race. They're past this whole thing of judging someone when they hear certain terms like black and white and automatically putting race on it and putting certain definitions on it and certain meanings on it. Now, when you get into understanding black and white according to the occult, you have to understand that usually when you deal with black, you're dealing with so-called negative energy. You're dealing with what some people would consider dead energy. Black, according to science, means death. Black, according to science, means death. So when you start talking about black energy or dark matter energy or anything like that, you're talking about an energy that is quote unquote dead or in a negative polarity. And most energy that's in a negative polarity or that is quote unquote dead is not usable or is not really able to be used by man at this point. Now, there are certain beings that can tap into what you would call black energy or negative energy, and they can use this energy, and it becomes usable energy for them. And this is called by some tetianic energy, as I talked about before. So when you talk about white energy or energy of the light, this is what's called solar energy, energy that is coming from the celestial realm. And we know more about, of course, we think we know more about celestial energy or light energy than we do as far as dark energy. 90% of the known universe is composed of what's called dark matter or dark energy. But one must remember that darkness is just, when one sees darkness, this is just basically you being colorblind. When you look up outside in space at night and you see like a black sky, the reason why you see that is because you're colorblind. According to some scientists, there are lights, colors, vibrations that the human being cannot really observe at this point. Now, some yogis claim to be able to see them, and some really spiritual people that are able to access their third eye chakra and are able to view through their third eye chakra say that they do see these different lights and these different colors. So I'm saying all that to say that when you start getting into understanding the concept of the white brotherhood and the black brotherhood, you must first understand these terms and these words of black and white. And then you must secondly understand the energies between, or the energies and the difference between the energies of the white energy and the dark energy of the so-called black energy. Now, when you get into understanding the systems and the brotherhoods and how they work, and the sisterhoods and how they work, as far as the White Brotherhood and the Black Brotherhood, you have to understand that it's how they work with the energy. It's not the energy itself. So it's not that those particular beings and entities and people that are in the White Brotherhood don't use dark energy. It's not to say that. It's just that those particular beings that are in the White Brotherhood have took on a responsibility in saying that I'm going to work with this chaotic energy, because all energy starts in chaos. So I'm going to work with this chaotic energy, but I'm going to do it so in a constructive fashion, not in a destructive fashion. And that's the real difference between the White Brotherhood and the Dark Brotherhood. Now, I know you hear me, I want to kind of point this out here. I know a lot of people, they hear me talk about light workers and they hear me talk about dark workers. And I know a lot of people think, well, when you call yourself a dark worker, that's like being an initiate into the Dark Brotherhood. But see, what people fail to realize is that in the Dark Brotherhood, it's not the darkness that makes them an initiate into the Dark Brotherhood. It's the deception. It's the deception. That's what really makes them an initiate into this particular order. It's the fact that they use this particular energy and they use it in a destructive fashion, which is to deceive people with it. Because in order to destroy anything on a physical level, you have to use deception in order to do it. So they're using this energy for negativity. They're using this energy on a lower level. Now, those particular beings, because there's beings and then there's human beings, so you got to keep this in mind. So those particular beings that are initiated into the White Brotherhood, they took an oath and a pact and a vow not to harm, to do unto others as they would want others to do unto them, and not to violate one's free will. Where your liberty begins is where my free will ends, or vice versa. So they take these kind of oaths, they take these kind of pacts of those particular beings that are in the White Brotherhood versus the group of beings that are in the Dark Brotherhood. They demonstrate deception, and their thing is about personal gain, because you have to remember those particular beings that are initiated into the Black Brotherhood, their thing is that they believe that they are a god in and of themselves. They believe they're a god in and of themselves, to the point where they're like a mini universe in and of themselves. Like, not just a god. Like, I mean, it's one thing to say I'm a deity, I have powers, and I'm a god or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I have these superpowers or whatever. I can understand that. But they believe that they're a god in and of themselves, meaning that those people on that path feel like they don't acknowledge the fact that what they do affects other people. And once they come to the realization of this, because they don't tell them these things, of course, when you get initiated into these dark orders, they pull you in a certain kind of way. They pull you in a certain kind of way, and they don't really tell you the rules of how the light works, because you're really essentially just working with the light in general. And those particular people that use it for self-gain and that get to a point where it's all about power, they don't tell them that the energy is going to turn in on them. So they don't realize that in the beginning, that, you know what I'm saying, what they're doing is going to come back on them, because they're not initiated and they don't learn the higher laws of karma. And then those particular beings that do know those higher laws of karma, and those particular dark beings that do know, they basically study a practice and a system to where they feel like they can beat karma. They study a system to where they feel like they can barter energy for energy. So in that, they can jump into the dark side, do what they have to do, and then basically use another energy to get out of the dark energy before the energy cycles around and it comes back on them. And they even practice a point to where they'll pass the karma on to someone else. So these people study energy like on a deep level, these particular beings that are in the Dark Brotherhood, and there's different levels to them. Now, both of these brotherhoods exist, and this is according to the Emerald Tablets. Both of these brotherhoods exist in the 7th dimension. They have ties to the 7th dimension. It's just that one particular brotherhood, like I said, uses energy one way, and the other particular brotherhood, they study and use energy another way. And both of these particular brotherhoods, and Black Brotherhood and the White Brotherhood, have initiates. They have different schools and orders that fall up under them. And this is when you get into the concept of ritual and occult orders and different lodges and different temples, and how when they do different rituals, like reaching out to different gods or whatever, they don't really know which particular brotherhood or sisterhood that this particular god is a part of. Are they with the order of Amenti or the Black Brotherhood? Or are they with the White Brotherhood and the Brotherhood of Light? And the thing is that when they're working with these different entities or whatever, the master is supposed to know, of course, which particular order they're initiated in, but at the same time, it's not always known or whatever, because you have to get that information from the guy, and of course, that particular guy can deceive you. But all of that past the point. When you're dealing with a deity or invoking any kind of deity, I don't care what system it's from, I don't care what religion it's from, I don't care what type of spiritual system, whether it's Ifa, whether it's Yoruba, whether it's in the Vedic system, whether it's a Buddhist god, whether it's an Ethiopian god, I don't care what culture this god is from. When you start studying the hierarchies and the different dimensions and of the gods, they all will have to either belong to either the Black Brotherhood and the White Brotherhood. So you have that level. And then the second level to the whole Black Brotherhood and White Brotherhood thing is that you have your ancestors. You have your ancestors. And some of your ancestors may get, once they go to the other side and they go through the halls and they're judged and their heart is judged. See, people fail to realize that the good that you do and the good words that you speak and the light that you give out, your heart is weighed against that and it's judged or whatever, versus the so-called evil deeds that you do and the deceptive deeds, because that's the real evil, is a deception. The deception that you leave here, the lies that you tell that hurt other people, that lead to destructive things, you're judged by these things. And depending on how much light or darkness you have in your heart, this is what going to determine as to whether or not you go into the Black Brotherhood when you go to the other side, or you go into the White Brotherhood. Now, when you hear about people getting trapped here, when you hear about people getting stuck here on the concept of reincarnation, the reason why people get stuck here is because of the fact that they get, once they make their transformation or whatever, their heart is weighed and they get initiated into the Black Brotherhood. And what happens when you get initiated to the Black Brotherhood? See, they don't tell you when you're on Earth and you're doing their dirt for them. They don't tell you the consequences of what's going to happen. When you get initiated into the Black Brotherhood, they take all of your light. They take all of your light, like all the light that you may have had. And basically what happens is that you get initiated and go through the cycles of reincarnation. And you get deceived and you get put back into the cycles of incarnating back. And they take your light. So when they take your light, what am I saying? They take away your ability to remember. That's what I'm saying here. So when you go to the halls of Ma'at, or whatever some people call it, the halls of Amenti, when you go through these halls, or basically when you get judged, some people say they go before God, whatever you believe, it doesn't really matter what you believe. But when you go through this particular judgment phase, what people fail to realize is that it's not really about good and evil the way you look at it. It's really about remembrance. See, remembrance is equal to light, and ignorance is equal to darkness. Remembrance is equal to light, and ignorance is equal to darkness. So when you go get judged based upon your ability to remember. And this is something key here that they don't really teach in religion and stuff like that, because you could be a good person, but at the end of the day, when you go to sleep and when you dream and stuff like that, how much of your identity and yourself that you've learned about yourself here in the Matrix and all the stuff that you learned about yourself, how much of that do you really remember in the dream world and when you're asleep? Like, how much of yourself do you really remember? Like, I mean, to a point where, do you remember your mother in the dream world? Like, you may have a connection with your mother or your father or your loved one, but do you remember your spouse when you're in the dream world? Like, do you really know like, say for instance, if you're married or something like that, or if you're in a relationship, do you really know you're in a relationship when you're in the dream world? So depending on how you answer that, that's giving you an idea of how it is when we talk about getting judged and getting your heart weighed and stuff like that. It's based on remembrance and being able to recite. This is why they talk about the 42 negative confessions, and they talk about how one will have to recite them in the halls of Ma'at and be able to recite them, and Thoth is there taking notes. And your ability to remember is why you have to recite. And this is letting you know that the gods and what we take with us to this other realm, these other dimensions that I speak of, all of this stuff is based on memory, beloved. It's based on memory. So to understand the Black Brotherhood and the White Brotherhood, you must first understand that even when you so-called die, and even when you've died before in the past, like, you've had other bodies. This is not your first time being here. This may be your first time hearing this, but this is not your first time here on this planet. You've been here before. And with that, you take over memories, and some people forget, of course, when they come here. And usually you remember when you're a baby, actually, believe it or not, and you start to forget as you grow up. See, this is the Dark Lords, the Black Brotherhood, not only causing you to forget on the other realm, but then causing you to forget here in this particular world. So basically what I'm saying here is that your initiation into whatever brotherhood is based on memory and ignorance, remembrance and ignorance. And what happens is the way people get initiated into the dark brotherhood is through ignorance. You have to remember that. They really don't see. People always think about the dark side, and they think that all the knowledge is in the dark side. The knowledge is in the dark side, but the knowledge is only in the dark side based upon the fact that your ability to be able to extract it. What I mean by that is that they're not going to teach you everything. They're not going to really teach you anything. In order to get initiated into the Black Brotherhood, is based on you being ignorant and lusting for illusions. See, they create illusions, and they have you, and they basically create ways for you to be drawn to these illusions through lust and different things like that. But these illusions aren't real. See, these illusions are basically, they use the light. Remember I talked about the light, and they create with the light, and they get you chasing after the illusion. And most people, they chase after things for power, which are illusions. So they got you chasing after a car because you want a car to get girls, or they got you chasing after a ring because you like the way this ring blings on your hand, and you like the attention that you get from it. So they make you focus on the things, and this is how you get initiated into the dark brotherhood. So you could be a being of light, and they recruit from the beings of light. See, that's the funny thing about the dark brotherhood. The dark brotherhood really doesn't recruit. They don't recruit from the ground level up. They initiate, and they get their recruits from beings that are on the path of light. In the white brotherhood, when I talked about the white brotherhood, white means purity in the occult. See, I didn't really go into that. When you talk about the concept of white, see, in the occult, that means pure. So when you talk about the white brotherhood, this is one who's not diluted. And the more pure you are, see, on the white brotherhood, the rules are different. The more pure you are, this is going to enhance your ability to create. It's based on your purity. So say, for instance, doing magic. The more clean you are, the better your magic spells will work. The more diluted you are, or the more ignorant you are, the less your magic is going to work. Because ignorance is either you don't know, or you know you're not going to listen. Either way, that's ignorant. So if you know the truth, like say for instance, you know you're supposed to be a vegetarian, and you keep eating meat, then that's just ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't stop. People make mistakes, but that's just ignorant. So the amount of ignorance that you partake in will basically determine how much darkness you have. The amount of remembrance you take in will determine how much light you have. The reason why people are pure is because of remembrance. The reason why people are faithful in their relationships is because they remember their commitment that they made with that particular partner. The reason why people are good students at school is because they remembered the commitment they made with their family, and that they were going to pass and do X, Y, and Z. So people do good because of remembrance. People do ignorance or evil based on ignorance. So this is how you're judged, and this is how you're recruited. So back to my point, the Black Brotherhood, they don't recruit from the from the ground, from the masses, or from the ground up. They recruit from the light, those people that are on the path. See, they want all the good people, the people that remember, and they put illusions in front of them. Say, okay, what about this? And then they'll put a woman in front of you, and they're like, what about her? She's nice. And then they have you chasing after her, which is an illusion, to the point where because you want her because it represents some form of power for yourself. So then now you're chasing after this woman. And they got you running after her or whatever. And then in that, they take your light. While you chasing after her and doing all of this, chasing after this woman in ignorance, because you're not remembering. So you're in ignorance. They take your light. And this is what they do. And there's different levels to it. And let me explain to you the different levels. See, they need your light for different reasons. For one thing, they need your light in order to create those people on the Black Brotherhood. So this is, and you got to remember, guys, like there's people out there right now on YouTube and all of that are a part of the Black Brotherhood, but you don't really know what they're a part of because they look just like each other. Some people in the White Brotherhood look just like those people that's a part of the Black Brotherhood. As far as appearance, there's no race, because these people are under control of higher gods and entities that are initiated into these brotherhoods. So what I'm getting at here is that the human, his or herself, can be a member of the Black Brotherhood through pledging allegiance to a particular entity and a deity and doing their bidding. See, this is how you get a part of it. And those people that chase power, and that's their aim, power, they're on the black side. Those people that are looking for not only just knowledge, but enlightenment and being able to create, and they want to enhance their ability to be able to create. These are people that are on the White Brotherhood side. So you have to be wary. You got to be wary or whatever, because they use your light and your energy so that they can go in and out of both sides. Because you have some people that are on the dark side, some particular entities, I mean, like gods, that have been there for a long time. And they go in and out from the light into the dark, in and out from the light into the dark. And you wonder, how did they stay on the dark side? These are the higher ups in the Black Brotherhood. These are the higher ups. They can go back and forth from both sides because they master energy. They took enough, they're vampires. They took enough white energy to be able to cross over and come back to the dark side, get power, and come back, or get knowledge and then come back to the side of power. And this is how they control those higher ups. See, they control because they're constantly going in and out of the side of light and dark, getting knowledge and getting information and using it for their self-interest to keep their particular universe. Because remember, I talked about in the beginning how these particular entities see themselves as a separate God. They don't see us as all being interconnected. So they see themselves as a separate God. And in that, they see themselves as a separate universe. So in order to keep this thing going, they need what? Energy. Juice. This is what keeps the universes going. So whose energy are they going to use to keep this self-sustaining universe going? Those particular people on the light that are deceived by their tricks, by their deception, and by their schemes, and by their illusions. Those people that are deceived, they trap you. Like when you talk about trapping the soul, they take the energy and harvest it and use that to create for them. So these are your archons, but these can be your ancestors. And that's something that I wanted to point out here. So you have good ancestors in your DNA line, and then you have negative ancestors. When you die in ignorance, and you decide that you're going to be ignorant, and you decide that, you're going to be foolish or whatever, what I mean by that is you're not going to remember anymore. Like you're going to just do what everybody else do and forget your pacts and your oaths and things like that. When you decide you're going to be ignorant, you don't get away. See, that carries over into your soul, and that causes your light to become a little bit dimmer even when you die, because your soul has a life period on it. I'm going to do a video on that. Your soul has a period of time. It can expire. And when you do things in ignorance and when you don't remember, this can cause your light to burn out a lot quicker. So what happens is that you have ancestors that are a little bit dimmer than some of the other ancestors. All ancestors aren't created equal. Their light might not be as bright as one particular ancestor who did what he or she had to do. So they remember. So their remembrance level is really high, so their light is bright. But then you have some ancestors that are on the dark side and on the dark path. And you have to be wary to not play out their rituals and the things that they want you to do, because at the same time, yeah, they may be your ancestor and you may be channeling them, you may be talking to them and stuff like that, but they may have gotten stuck and they may need your light to cross over too. So you even have ancestors, is basically what I'm saying, that are on the side of dark and on the side of light. You got to be wary for these people out here, because there's people out here that are either working for one of the two. It's no in-betweens. And it doesn't matter about Christianity. See, the White Brotherhood, the beautiful thing about it is, and the Black Brotherhood is, it sits in the 7th dimension. So this particular lodge or school controls all the different spiritual orders and hierarchies. I don't care what it is on the planet Earth and even in other dimensions. So even in other star constellations. So it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or whatever. There's Christians that are on the white side dealing with the White Brotherhood, and then there's Christians that are on the black side dealing with the Black Brotherhood. And don't let the people in the Black Brotherhood deceive you. They need blood. These people are wicked, what you would call wicked. You know what I'm saying? Because these people need blood in order to exist. These people will deceive you and act like they're for right, and act like they're for good, but really blood is what fuels their movement. You see what I'm saying? Innocent blood, innocent lives, innocent light. See, they need that. So when you on YouTube and you watching these people or whatever, they're even harnessing your energy when you watching them. Like when you're out in public and you're engaging these people, you're at these different churches and you come into these churches, and if the church is ran by somebody that's on the black side and the Black Brotherhood, believe they're taking your energy, harnessing harvesting it and using it for what they want to use it for, absorbing it. These are, I mean, this is deep science or whatever. So this is how they keep their power. This is how they keep their power. So when you start talking about good and bad and right and wrong and stuff like that, really in the universe, like, I mean, people hear me say that all the time. There is no such thing as good and bad and right or wrong. There's just experience. You got those people that they want to be, they love being stuck in the cycles of reincarnation. They like deceiving people and coming back to this planet, jumping in and out and getting over on people and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you can go on the streets and see that. Like, there's people out there that just like getting over on people. They like tricking people. They like putting spells on people. They like running game on people. Those people that are in the Black Brotherhood, you see. And then you got those particular people that are in the White Brotherhood that they like freeing people. They like teaching people creativity. See, they're just like Prometheus. And I need to do a video on Prometheus, who gave the secrets of fire to humanity. So you got people that are like that are giving, you know what I'm saying, because they want to see people free. And they know that we're all interconnected. So they know that really you can't deceive anybody and get away with it. But those particular people on the dark side, see, some of them that are initiated into that, they don't know that. They're ignorant still. So they think that their little games and stuff that they play, they can get out of it and they can beat karma and stuff like that. But you have to be high up in the order of the darkness to beat karma. I mean, you got to be real high up in that order, buddy, if you think you're going to beat karma. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that in metaphysics, karma can't be beat, because, I mean, we do have a teaching that talks about, you know, certain karmas, being able to sidestep certain karma, stuff like that. But the thing is that you're dealing with entities, the entities that control this. You can't see them at all. Like, you can't see them. So, and even those people that are under control by them, they've never seen their gods, because their gods are illusions. They don't exist. So you're going to get trapped in their karma, because the beings that control this particular order that I'm talking about are in the 7th dimension. They can't be seen. They will never make themselves known, because they're deceivers. So their goal is to not be known. Just like a criminal never wants to be known. So anytime a god doesn't really want you to know him or her, and they keep acting like they're other people, like actors, that's a deceiver. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody that's on that side, and they're out there. We realize that in the call. They're out there. And you got to be able to decode this information and know, but at the same time, what side are you going to be on? When you make your ascension, will you remember? Or will you deal in ignorance? Will you deal in fear? See, the beings on the dark side, they need you to stay ignorant. They don't. The thing is that they don't want you to know anything. The more you know, the more of a threat you are. And that's why they pull people in and give them ranks. Those people that know, they pull them in and give them ranks, because they know that they know. They pull people in from the light side, you see, and they give them power based upon illusions. But what side will you be on? Will you remember? When you, next time you're out there and you encounter someone that's saying that they're on a path, like they're a Buddhist and they want you to just read this pamphlet, or they're a Jehovah's Witness and they just want you to read this pamphlet, or whatever they are, question it. Are they really initiated into the White Brotherhood or the Black Brotherhood? Because it's not about like sins and stuff like that, guys. Like, it's not about who's right as far as like some moral standard or anything like that. It's really all about remembrance and whether or not you're going to deceive people or not. Some people deceive people and some people don't. You could do whatever you want to do as long as you don't violate someone's free will. And when you deceive someone, you're violating their free will. See, that's what people fail to realize. So that's what puts you into it. It's a deception thing. And I know that, you know, I'm kind of talking long here, but I need to really drive this point home, is that really got to know. You really got to know, because like a lot of us are coming into this metaphysics thing, bringing like a lot of religious mentalities and concepts and stuff like that into it, and you can't really get the meat out of metaphysics if you're still like religious, if you're still like thinking about like, oh, white people and black people, if you're still like caught up on political stuff. Like, politics and science don't go hand in hand, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, but politicians do what they do, but it has nothing to do with science or whatever. When you start talking about white, even on a political level, like, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself black even on a political level. Like, I mean, I can't do it or whatever, but I'm just saying on a scientific level, you can't really call yourself, I mean, you really can't get caught up on these terms and these words of black and white and good and bad and evil and good. You have to understand that where people are at in intentions and putting things in perspective in order to be a good magician. The reason why Adam was a good magician in the Bible was because, quote unquote, God taught him the names of things. So he took away the ignorance from Adam, but he didn't teach him about that one particular tree. So he still kept him ignorant. So that's why you got to question God in the Bible. What I'm saying here is that the reason why Adam was such a great magician is because of the fact he knew things. He knew the names of things. which is very key. Like just knowing the names of things. When you know the proper name over something, you get control over it. You get mastery over it. So knowledge is key. Knowledge is going to be your portal, your pathway out of this particular cycle. If you don't want to reincarnate back, it's how much you can remember, how lucid you are, what you put into your vessel, things of that nature. So I hope this helped in giving you an understanding of the white brotherhood versus the black brotherhood. And if you have any other information or any other questions or anything that you want me to speak about, please shoot me an email at 13signsastrology@gmail.com. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Namaste.